And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome aboard on this Sunday, May 18th, 2025. This is your Alaska Marine Weather Outlook, and I'm National Weather Service meteorologist Peter Chan. We start out with the state of the sea ice. The ice is melting off rather quickly across areas of the eastern northern Bering. We have a lot of open water developing now throughout Norton Sound, south of the Bering Strait, and out further west and southwestward of St. Lawrence Island, and this trend will only continue. As far as what we got coming up here in terms of weather systems, this is one of the more notable lows that'll be coming up in the short term, this 995 low across Haida Gwaii on Monday. It's going to bring some gale force winds along Prince of Wales Island, Dixon Entrance this Sunday night, and some additional rainfall, especially across southern parts of the Panhandle. And then as we look further north, along the north slope spine of the Brooks Range, accumulating snow will be working its way eastward toward the Dalton Highway there through Anatuvik, Adigan passes. Several inches of snow could fall from late Sunday night through early Tuesday morning. Further west, the weaker low out here in the Bering. There's another one approaching the western Aleutians, and we have still on Monday afternoon that weakening low that'll be pushing up across Haida Gwaii. And then these troughs of low pressure, weak low centers northwest Canada back toward the interior will provide instability for some scattered rain showers, perhaps isolated rumble of thunder here or there in the east central interior Monday afternoon and early evening. On Tuesday, this low will be sliding along and just north of the Aleutians, crossing the eastern Aleutians and re-emerging on the North Pacific side of the Alaska Peninsula and just southwest of Kodiak Island for Wednesday. That'll spread more rain and breezy conditions up along the western Gulf Coast for midweek. In the meantime, though, look for north winds 10 to 15 knots, Stevens Passage up to Lynn Canal, waves 2-3 feet on Monday, and southeast winds to 25 knots, waves 6 to 8 feet, Ketchikan, Metlakatla. Look for easterly gale force gust up to 35 knots here along Haida Gwaii, Dixon Entrance. As we go up the coast, winds become more northwest to west at around 15 to 20 knots, especially Sitka northwestward with swells 7 to 8 feet. On Tuesday, interchannel winds south-southeast 10 to 15 knots, waves 2-3 feet there, Lynn Canal, Stevens Passage, but as high as 5-6 feet down toward Metlakatla. And generally for areas south of Sitka, northwest winds 15 knots, 7 to 8 foot waves, and then west to southwest winds outside of Yakutat and Gustavus there with winds at about 10 knots and swells 5 to 6 feet. Prince William Sound, west winds 10 knots on Monday, 2 foot waves outside of Hinchinbrook Entrance to Kayak Island, west winds 15 to 20 knots. Look for southwest winds 15 knots up along and north of Anchor Point to Upper Cook Inlet, and then westerly winds 20 to 25 knots, Lower Cook Inlet out to Kennedy Entrance and northeast of Kodiak Island, waves 5 to 6 feet. On Tuesday, southeast winds 15 knots within Prince William Sound, waves 2 to 3 feet. Southeast winds 15 knots outside there of Hinchinbrook Entrance with 5 foot waves. Variable winds up along Turnagain Arm, Canet Arm, and the Upper Cook Inlet, 10 knots, waves just a foot or two. But still westerly winds about 20 knots, Lower Cook Inlet out of Kamishak Bay to Kennedy Entrance, and waves 4 to 5 feet. For Monday, winds will generally be out of the west-southwest across Kodiak Island at 20 knots. Those generally westerly winds through the upper middle portion of the Alaska Peninsula, 15 to 20 knots, and then variable winds only around 10 knots either side there at Cold Bay and False Pass. For Tuesday, look for west-southwest winds 15 to 20 knots in the vicinity of Kodiak Island, extending back toward Port Hayden and off of Chiknik. Southwest winds off of Sandpoint, False Pass at 15 knots, 3-4 foot waves. But north side there, the Bering, north of Cold Bay, variable winds only 10 knots, waves a foot or two. And we'll see light winds and variable 10 knots there, eastern Aleutians on Monday. Winds try to come back around to the south, southeast, picking up to 25 to 30 knots, Kiska to Shemya. And then on Tuesday, we have that low that's going to be crossing up through the western Aleutians, so ahead of it. South-southwest winds 15 knots on Alaska. Those winds pick up southwesterly 25 to 30 knots from Nikolsky through Atka, Adak to Kiska before turning more westerly south of Shemya. And along the southwest coast, west winds 20 knots within Bristol Bay, northwest winds 15 knots within Kuskokwim Bay. Along the lower Yukon coast, Norton Sound, look for northwest winds at 15 knots. St. Paul, St. George, variable winds only around 10 knots. And then for Tuesday, winds will be northeasterly, 30 knots St. Matthew, northeast winds to 20 knots around the Pribilovs. And look for west winds within Bristol Bay, 15 knots, northwest winds 10 knots within Kuskokwim Bay, and then northerly winds within that wider expanse of Norton Sound between Nome and Emonic, and then down along the lower Yukon coast, north winds 15 knots with waves right around 2-3 feet where there is open water. And then through the lower Chukchi Sea, Bering Strait to the north side of St. Lawrence Island, north winds of 25 knots. And where there is open water, waves could be as high as 5 feet. Winds fall off further north you go. Northerly winds generally around 10 knots, Utqiagvik through Prudhoe Bay. And on Tuesday, winds become east-northeast 10 to 15 knots, Kaktovik to Prudhoe Bay. More northerly, north to northeast, Utqiagvik to Wainwright at about 15 knots. And then as we drop down through the lower Chukchi Sea outside of Kotzebue Sound through the Bering Strait along the west side of the Seward Peninsula and north side of St. Lawrence Island, winds on Tuesday will generally be out of the north at 20 knots with waves running 3 to 4 feet where there is open water.